Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Planescape Torment. Now, last time, all we really did was just kind of wander around and get our buddy Mort here some new, fun words to share with people. I apologize for the possible change in my tone. Just thinking about things between recording episodes, and honestly, I was thinking to myself that sometimes you gotta be willing to explore not just games, but life as well. These roleplay games are so great and immersive, and it really gets my brain going and thinking about stuff, not just as a gamer, but I also like writing, I like reading, I do a lot of. Excuse me, I'm having a life moment! Rude. Yeah, you run away, see what happens. Oh god, I'm hurt. But essentially, these roleplay games to me have always been either just a means of me to escape from something I don't want to deal with, or admittedly, just to really sit down and think about things. I'm not going to get all philosophical on you but at the end of the day, just remember to appreciate yourselves and be thankful for, even if it doesn't seem like the best hand that life has dealt you, the fact that you're still alive means that there is something worth living for. Anyway, now that that's over, let's go talk to Miriam, see what they have to say. This old woman stands silently by the wall, staring off into the distance. She seems to be unconcerned with the flow of traffic around her, and clutches a wooden pole from which dozens of small fish are dangling. Greetings. Oh, hello, sir. She squints for a moment to discern your identity. Oh, my. Here I was thinking you'll be one of my regular customers. She proffers her fish pole. Tuna, sir? Mackerel? Sea cucumber? No fish, but I had some questions. As you her mouth pressed down and tight lip frowned, and she stares off over her shoulder. Look behind you, see what she's staring at. You can see nothing of interest behind you. As you turn your back to her, you catch her looking at you. She looks away quickly, resuming her staring off into the distance. Do I look familiar to you? Goodness, no! Aye, you do. Have we met before then? I think ye are a man with your likeness. 'Twas so long ago. Tell me. Well, sir, you see, me sight's not so good now. 'Twasn't back then either. But I thought I saw ye walking past with a small group trailing along behind you. What do these people look like? It's hard to say, sir. 'Twas so long ago, and you walked by so quickly, like. But I remember now, the way you held your head up. There was a woman following you, trying to stop you, to get you to turn around and speak to her, but you pushed her away. What happened then? Beautiful woman she was. Looked so sad, so angry. All at once, she just stood there for a moment, then followed along with you behind all the same, hustling to catch up. You said there was a group. Who else was there? There was at last 2 other gentlemen with you, sir. The one I remember too clearly, though, was tall, thin, reeked of bub, he did. I smelled him from across the way. Looked like he hadn't bathed in ages, too. And he followed you close, he did, and never said a word. Acted like the woman wasn't even there. And when she bumped against him trying to stop you, I remember her, sir. I'm going to give her a copper for her time. I'm going to give her 5 copper. Why, thank you, sir, most kindly. May the lady's shadow pass ye over. Okay, so context. They're referring to the Lady of Pain, who is incredibly enigmatic and very powerful. When she's saying, may the lady's shadow pass ye over, she's saying, may it not come your way. But if someone says, may the lady's shadow cast over you, that is like an ultimate punishment. Even though you yourself are an undying character, having the Lady of Pain pass her shadow over you, or cast her shadow over you, is a way to get a permanent game over, as her shadow lands you into abyss of nothing but the sharpest blades, so you literally just kind of get shredded for all eternity. Thanks, farewell. So she's saying, may the Lady of Pain leave you alone. And the Lady of Pain is actually the reason why I don't attack the thugs first. Because if I do attack them first and show signs of active violence... Oop. Come on. There we go. You attacked me first, now it's just... the lady would eventually do her first punishment, which is to maze me, and then her second punishment is to cast her shadow over you, which leads to a permanent game over. Listen, you attacked me first. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to get ourselves a third party member that is going to help me with something down the road. The one I am looking for, I've mentioned this man Ignace before. He is not the party member that I have in mind. Rather, it was a man over here, Dak'kon. The man before you is old, his dry yellow skin and the scars of one who has traveled everywhere and never rested long in any one place. His pinched face is inhumanly angular, and his ears sweep out of his skull, tapering to points. He wears a loose-fitting orange tunic, and a strange shimmering blade is strapped across his back. The blade looks to be a two-pronged glaive, made of metal whose surface swirls like a film of oil on a pond. Greetings. The man turns to you, his eyes like polished coal. He stares through you for a moment. You wonder if he might be blind. The weapon suddenly turns a dead, flat black, mirroring the man's eyes. Are you all right? He says nothing for a moment and merely searches your face with his eyes. Hail, traveler. His voice is quiet and somber, like a wind whispering through the branches of a great tree. Hail. Your eyes are the weight of one who has traveled far to be in this place. The man meets your gaze. His weapon drains of its black color, resuming its shimmering you noticed before you spoke to him. You could say that. The man's gaze does not waver from yours. I am known as Dak'kon. The emphasis he places on the word known strikes you as odd, yet familiar at the same time. You are not known to me. I do not know myself. That is for the best. In knowing yourself, there would be little in the plains left worth knowing. He falls silent for a moment, while studying you with his coal-black eyes. I would know why you have come to this city. I'm looking for answers. I have many questions. Speak your questions. I will hear you. So Dak'kon is kind of like a mystic part member of the group, and not only is he very intelligent, but he actually has quite a story behind him, and I intend to have him be a member of my party in the hopes of sharing this story with you. I have actually, and I mean this quite actually, spent a solid 5, possibly 5 hours just talking with him. And I didn't get any experience. I didn't really get anything out of doing it. But I learned his story and his religion, his faith, his special ways, and it was so worth it. The biggest appeal of this game is its storyline and its characters and just how amazingly detailed the world is. So, your features are unfamiliar to me. What are you? A Xeshire. A Xeshire. A Xeshire is one of the people. One of the people. A Xeshire. Thanks for your explanation. It clears up a lot, but I had some questions. No, it doesn't. Speak your questions, I will hear you. Can you tell me about this city? It is known by the name Sigil. Among the people, it is known as the city that does not know itself. It doesn't know itself? What do you mean? The city exists, but it doesn't know itself. In not knowing itself, its existence is flawed. How is it flawed? The city exists in opposition to itself. It has set itself apart from the plains, yet it seeks to be everywhere at once. Its walls are doors, yet it keeps the doors locked. Such an existence tells of a thing that does not know itself. In not knowing itself, it is flawed. I need more coffee along my throat to do this voice. Here, show more. Oh, God. Hmm. When you say the city is everywhere at once, what do you mean? City is built from doors. These doors lead everywhere. He's referring to the portals, which we still have yet to see. Where are these doors? They are everywhere. Dak'kon falls silent for a moment. It is said that every bounded space within this city is a door that leads elsewhere. I don't understand. Imagine the door to the smoldering corpse bar. Remove the door, the frame remains. The space within the frame is still a door. But I walk through that door to get in here. It's just an open space. Many are the doors you never see. You may pass through them as if air and not know them for what they are. They are closed to your sight and touch. So, quick translation. He is referring to just archways, doorways, closed spaces. Any area that you can walk through can be a portal. And this, I haven't come across her yet, but there is a member of the Sigil community that has actually wound up somewhere absolutely terrible. And because she's become so paranoid of these portals, she refuses to do anything. Remember how I said sometimes these portals are a bad thing? The thing that's scary is you accidentally walking into a portal and not knowing what's on the other side. Sometimes you could wind up somewhere lovely where there's roses and sunshine and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes you could end up next to the skull pillar in the underplanes, burning for all eternity until you magically find a way out. Because another thing to keep in mind, a portal that takes you one way will not take you the other way. You'll have to find another way back. And these invisible doors are everywhere in Sigil? Yes, they are. It is said every bounded space in Sigil is a door. It is not known for certain. Doors move, doors change, doors disappear. All are locked. Locked. The doors remain as air until you have the key that opens them. When you have the key, the doors will make themselves known to you. How do you know what the key is? Every door has a different key. Some keys are known, others are not known. What are these keys? There are as many keys as there are doors. The keys are not always things of metal. The keys can be the clashing of two swords, a drop of blood drawn from the tongue of a dying man, the memory of a past love, or an angry curse hurled at the sky. When the key and door match, the door reveals itself. Sounds like finding all these doors can be difficult. Such a task has been attempted but never finished. As the city changes, the doors change. Nothing known remains known for long. Why'd you say the city's flawed again? Okay, here we go. Okay, so I do have a couple options. You speak as if the city's alive. It may not be aware and know itself in the sense that you or I might know ourselves, but it lives. It grows and changes and touches the minds of all who live here. Why'd you say the city does not know itself? Good. Okay, and now we're back here. The city's not flawed. A thing does not need to be ordered and have a purpose to know itself. These contradictions and strengths that you cannot. See, this is interesting. I did not have these options originally. I had to actually go out and level up my wisdom and intelligence a bit. So the fact that I'm getting these options right away is making me very happy. Last time I played as a fighter, and I dabbled a little bit in magic, but not really. This time I intend to really dive into being a mage this playthrough. And I'm going to go into the full details of that as we continue down this road. This guy here actually is one of the few ways I can transition from a fighter to a mage. So I actually really need his help. Is not flawed. To your question, a question. What if the city is flawed? And okay, just to reread what I said. What if the city is not flawed? A thing does not need to be ordered and have a purpose to know itself. What if these contradictions are strengths that you cannot see? To show your question with a question. What if the city is flawed, and you see its contradictions all around you? To your question with a question, you claim the city's existence is flawed. You have accepted this rather than explore the possibility that something greater may exist. That suggests you are flawed, and that you do not search for knowledge, but only for a convenient answer. Ooh, I actually like that. Dak'kon falls silent. There is no knowing the answer to the questions we have asked. Yet the city exists, that is all. Yet I would maintain that we know ourselves by the questions we ask and the ones we do not. If we cease asking questions and accept only what we can perceive, then we will cease to know ourselves. Dakon's words had changed slightly and become heavier. Such words have been spoken before. I have heard them and know them. So you'll notice I got experience just from doing that. I've mentioned it before, but seriously, talking, of all things, talking gets you experience. And this is something I wish roleplay games actually did more. Because I'm not fighting and gaining fighting experience. I'm not stabbing a big giant monster. No. I am learning. I am opening my mind to new ways of thinking and absorbing information. This game is really good at making you sit down and really think about what you want to do and what you want to say to these, not just to these characters, but just ways you want to think. It almost forces you to be willing to change your perspective. Because if you go through this entire game straightforward and only looking in the direction of the storyline, you are not only going to get screwed over in so many ways and get so many game overs and get so frustrated, you will, more than likely, get a terrible ending. Being open-minded is not a bad thing. At least in my opinion. You could agree, you could disagree. Go ahead and say that in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Haha. Where have you heard them? The words are mine. Once I knew them and knew their meaning. I had forgotten them until you spoke. Dakon's gaze travels through you, and his blade stops shimmering, bleeding of all color until it is translucent. There is a moment of silence, then Dakon looks at you. I would travel your path with you. I accept. An extra blade would be welcome. Your path is mine. Strangely enough, his voice seems distant, and it echoes, as if he was speaking from across a great distance. Very well. Let's go. So we now have Dakon in our party, who is also voiced by a very lovely individual whose name I am very sadly blanking on right now. It is now midnight. I am just happy to have this man in my party again, so much so, in fact, that I'm just going to click the dialogue and go back to Dakon. There are things I wish to know, Dakon. Which is unfamiliar to me. I wanted to ask you about our travels. Can I talk to you about your teachings? Can you teach me anything of the art, Dakon? Know that I am not a teacher in this, but know that I may serve as a guide. I do not know how humans come to be versed in the art, but when you learn the art, return and ask again. I'll ask again when I'm a mage. In the meantime, I have to find a mage teacher first. Darn it. I kept bouncing between being a mage and a fighter because of this guy. But I'm going to save that because that was incredibly important that happened. So new save. Yay! I got a magic samurai. Cool. Oh god, a mercy killer just came up to me. I'm just gonna walk this way. Select all characters so we can walk in a party together. Yay! Now, I want to talk to everyone here. Oh, good lord. You see a slightly stooped old man with a full gray beard. By the way, I'm probably going to be spending the rest of this episode in this bar. So I know to some people who've not played games like this, it probably seems like I'm making very little progress, when I personally know that the first time I played this game, it took me hours to figure out how to get Dak'kon to join my party. And before I could get him to join my party, I had to talk to everyone in this bar, figure out all of Sigil, and I had already died like 3 times. So do not be fooled by how slow the progress may look or feel while playing this game. Sigil is where you are going to be spending at least 80% of the game. There are other areas, and when you leave Sigil, you will not be able to return for a good chunk of the game. During that point, you will be doing pure storyline quests. So I am going to sip my coffee and get back into the bar setting. Holy crap. And then I'm going to relearn my language. You see a slightly stooped old man with a full gray beard and a lion's mane of gray hair. He wears a couple of shoulder guards as armor, and he keeps a helmet nearby. He smokes a pipe and carries a pouch of tobacco around his waist. He looks pretty strong, but he's a little plump and also appears to have some sort of breathing trouble. Well now, aren't you a sight, lad? Never have I seen so many scars blanketing a fella, like a scar cloak you're wearing. Where you been, hanging out in a grain thresher? I'm just jesting with you, lad. No offense meant, I hope no offense taken. I am Eb. He extends his hand. Greetings, Eb. His handshake is firm. Ow, my fingers. Now, I hereby tender my apologies to the unfair jesting lad. Hope no hard feelings. Can I buy you a tankard or two of something to smooth any ruffled feathers? Why not? That's a spirit, lad. Bide a moment. He rises to his feet and heads to the bar. After a moment, he returns to his seat with a pair of tankards. Here you go, lad. Drink up. He takes a massive swallow of his own tankard, puffs his pipe, and says, So what can old Abe do for you on this fine Sigil day? I had some questions for you. Well, I gathered that. Just look at you. I mean, you don't look like you're from around these parts, lad. You look a little too out of sorts to be a seasoned native. So what can I help you with, lad? You need to know the lay of the land? Who are you? Ignace, third measure of the harmonium. Now retired and being a tout with one's voice since I don't step as lightly as I might these past 2 or 3 decades. Now, lad, who be you, and what trouble might you be in? What makes you think I'm in trouble? Lad, no one has as many scars as you have and isn't in some sort of trouble, either from himself or from others. What do you take all that for? Blind? Ha! Look, I'm a little weathered around the edges, but I've still got some sight and sense. Now what's dogging your heels to be causing such trouble? Mayhap I can help you, eh? Okay, so a little clarification. Harmonium is a group similar to the Dustmen. You're going to find many factions in the Planescape world. The Harmonium, as I recall, are just as touchy about the subject of death as the Dustmen are. And you're in a place where no one trusts anyone. Everyone is suspicious for good reason. Everyone is honestly pretty blunt and upfront about that. So this guy also seems like quite a blabbermouth. I personally would prefer that as few people know about my situation as possible. So I had some other questions. Aye, lad, what do you want to know? Tell me of Sigil and its environs. You don't think small, do you? If you want to know what's outside the city, go talk to Candrian Ilborn over there. He's the traveler of this place. As for the rest of it, well, I can tell you of the lady. As for the lady, the Dabus, keys and portals, the way we keep track of time, the way the city's laid out. What was it you wanted to know? Okay, so here I can answer the question we had earlier of may the lady pass her May the lady pass her shadow over you. I am going to talk like a robot for the rest of this episode, but not really. Let's do this. Tell me about the lady. Well, no, not many know much about her. And I'm figuring even those that know more about... Know more than a little, don't know too much more. She's a mystery, she is. And even should you run across her, powers forbid. She's silent and deadly. She's not evil, far as I can tell, but she keeps that dark about herself, and Sigil is pretty tight. None's been able to penetrate it, and if they have, they've been mazed. Mazed? What do you mean? Oh, God! Aye. Sometimes bloods will be packed off to a place where they can't do no harm. The lady, see, she'll take a bit of sigil and make a little dimensional pocket out of it. A maze. She places those that have not crossed her in there and lets them rot. Or those that have crossed her there. So basically, getting mazed is a form of punishment. Now, you can't escape getting mazed once the lady sets her gaze on you, lad. She'll get you eventually, no matter how hard you try and dodge her. You'll be walking down an alley, or about to step through a portal, or to take a left turn down a street you've gone many full times before, and suddenly you're some place you don't recognize. Now, mazes aren't escape-proof. There's always a way out of each one. A portal that the lady places there. You just have to figure out where it is and use it. So, mazing to the Lady of Pain is a form of punishment. You upset her once, she mazes you. You upset her twice, she mazes you again. If you upset her a third time, she casts her shadow over you, and, as I said earlier, you get shredded for all eternity. Very painful. I had some other questions. Tell me about his environs. Tell me about the lady. Go on. Chances are you won't meet her unless you do something really bad. Hurting a lot of people, killing a Dabas, challenging her rule, worshipping her. She hates that, we figure. Or interfering with the Dabas' work, which may as well be the lady's work. Remember the Dabases that I mentioned earlier? They are... think of them as akin to like golems or toy soldiers that just do the lady's bidding. They create and destroy the city as she sees fit. She rules over it, but she doesn't want to be worshipped. She actually, if you think about it, what she wants is pretty simple. She wants to be able to rule this city, but also be left in peace. Kind of fair if you ask me, really. If you're lucky, just the mercy killers will come for you, but if she comes, you'll be dead as soon as her shadow falls on you. Please continue. Now, the lady can do almost anything in Sigil, lad, near as we can figure. Make it bigger or smaller. Make new portals, seal off old ones. Make sure the blood war don't break out in the streets. Keep folks out from teleporting the city into the powers out. We got a couple questions here that I really want to... Oh, I don't get to ask about the blood war. Aw, man. Who are the powers? It's another way of saying gods, lad, and there's a great horde of them across the plains. Oh yeah, this is actually kind of funny. I would dare to say that she has jealousy issues because she doesn't like being worshipped, but she doesn't like you worshipping other gods. And I've just been mazed. Just kidding. Okay, it's another way to say gods, lad, and there's a great horde of them across the plains. Ebb takes a puff of his pipe. They can't come to Sigil, though. The lady has a way of keeping them out that she hasn't spilled the chant yet. Be that as it may, it keeps Sigil from being seized by outside interests. I had some other questions about Sigil. Tell me of the Dabas. Aye, those funny little floating bloods that speak in symbols. Quite a piece of work, eh? The Dabas are kind of the lady's janitors and workmen, as I said earlier. Doing exactly what she wants, make sure Sigil's running up to snuff, patching walls, tearing down old buildings, building new ones, setting up portals, sealing off others, and on and on and on. They're a pretty neutral fatting bunch, and you don't want to interfere with one or kill one. You'll bring the lady's wrath down on you right quick. I had some other questions, not just about Sigil. We've talked a lot about Sigil, and I'm going to be at this for hours if I keep asking questions. Do you know someone named Farad? Farad? Ebb frowns and takes his pipe in his mouth. Now, lad, what you be wanting with a bark like Farad? I think he stole some of my belongings. Oh, no doubt, lad, no doubt. Grumbles, chewing his pipe. You have to chain up everything around that grasping little spider. He should have been one of the fated, the way anything. He should have been one of the fated, the way anything not chained down slips into his parlor. Don't give him a yard, or he'll take a league. Eh? What do you know about him? Oh, God. Well, now, I don't know everything there is to know about old Farad, but I know some of the dark surrounding him. If you're determined to track down that spider and nail him to a wall, then I suppose I could spill some of the chance so that you know what you're tangling with. Farad dug his nest deep into the Ragpicker Square not too long ago, got a bunch of collectors and gangs together, and started what one would consider a collecting faction, be that as it may be. Where can I find him? Well, lad, if you're looking for a Farad, which I can say is pretty barmy of you, he's basically calling me an idiot. You're a little off the beaten path. You want to be finding Ragpicker Square. Chances for odds set up his kip somewhere in the square. Even an old fellow like me who's been around the ring a few times don't know exactly where. I figure that Farad wants to keep his location in the dark. So I'm going to put my cursor there so I just remember where I am. We learned earlier that Farad really has set his base under the Ragpicker Square. But the whole reason I keep asking about him, despite already knowing the answer, is it really gives you an idea of how important this character is and how hated he is for the cruel things he does. If not cruel, then just outright disgusting. If you're all bound and determined to go find Farad, go to Ragpicker Square. Try and dig up Farad's location from some of the locals. But try and be careful about it, since there's plenty in the square that would still make a gut harp out of you as soon as they look at you. I see. Farewell. So we just learned a lot right there. And holy cow, I still have plenty of people in here to talk to. So let's start with the barkeep. You see a leather-skinned man with just a hint of ashen color to his face. His teeth seem sharper than normal, and his eyes filled with the boredom that comes with having seen too much. His voice is nasal and clipped. You again, eh? What do you want this time? Ah. You again? What do you mean? Yeah, you again. You got a hearing problem or something now? You was in here about 15 years ago, got all bubbed up and smashed up the place, left a pile of coin that wasn't enough to pay for the damages. So you plucked out your own bleeding eyeball and tells me you'll be back to reclaim it when you've got 200 coins together. Which I do. There's a reason why I've been working on that. With 15 years of interest, you've got about 500 coins. You got the Jink Pal, I got your eye. So, some of you may notice when I brought up the inventory screen that the Nameless One has a fake eyeball that he is able to actually remove and equip. It's part of his equipment. You can get specialty eyes that are special to the Nameless One. 500, that's ridiculous. Much not interested. I don't have that much. Then you're not getting your eyeball back. Makes sense? Very well, answer some questions for them. Hurry up, will ya? I got paying customers. Who are you? Me? I'm Barkus, owner and keeper of this place. Then you're the person to ask questions of. Hurry it up, will you? Yeah. Can you tell me something of the patrons here? Holy crap. What voice did I just give him? I don't make it a point to interfere with the lives of people who give me their hard-earned jink unless they ask me to. So, over there is Kandrian, Planewalker. He's a good one to have a talk about any planewalking questions you might have. He's been pretty much everywhere. Down there is Eb Creeknees, an old Harmonium Basher. Don't hold that against him. And a tout. I know, Harmonium Basher. Don't hold that against him. And a tout. He's got a good heart in him, and he knows Sigil up and down. Them fiends over there are the Aethgrin and Tagrin. Word of advice, don't deal with them. They might be low rankers in the fiend hierarchy, but they're still fiends. They mentioned something, taking a pause, they mentioned something about the Blood War earlier. There was a whole war going on Between fiends and devils, I mentioned there being lower planes. The planes of lawful evil, neutral evil, and chaotic evil. In the chaotic evil plane, these three planes are essentially the equivalent to the stages of hell. Chaotic neutral or chaotic evil being the absolute worst. This, if I recall correctly, is where most of the fiends come from, where they come up to the realm of the living, strike deals, and cause all kinds of mayhem wherever they wind up. Thanks to Sigil kind of being an interlocking connection between all 9 planes. Yeah. Then you got Ilquix over there, not trustworthy, and some mercy killers looking for some poor sod. Dak'kon the Githzerai is a mystery to me. Not to me, he's in my party. Pfft. Don't know much about him, he don't talk much. Finally, you interested in earning some free bub? Yes. There's a bubber over there against the far wall, hanging out in the shadows, who's been trying to work up her courage to slip out without covering her tab. I want you to make sure she don't do that. You do it, you got free bub here for life. I'll do it. I'll let you know when I'm done. So, I was going to talk to everybody originally, and then I just realized how much time that's actually going to take up. So instead, I'm going to make my way down here to Drusilla. This is a woman with fading bruises on her face and arms, despairing looks and sung. I think I'm talking to the wrong woman. She might have been pretty once, but those days were long ago. She turned slowly to face you. Okay, hold up. Welcome to the smoldering corpse, scarred man. Who are you? I am Drusilla, and you must be clueless. Don't ask me how I know that. It just shines off you. Clueless? I think not. Whatever you say, dearie. Whatever, farewell. So I think I'm talking to the wrong person. Maybe it was her? Cannot initiate dialogue. She appears busy. Oh god, she's approaching me. You see someone dressed as a female dustman with a half-empty glass in her right hand. As you near her, she calls out to you. You, over here. You notice there's something wrong about her, and your exposure to the dustman leads you to believe that she's just too lively to be a real member of the fraction. Approach her. Hey, Cutter, buy a lady a drink? Barkus says it's time for you to settle your tab. Pay up. What are you going to do? Ask you to pay up. Now. I can't afford it. Can you spot me just 10%? I'll give it to him, and he knows I'll pay the rest. See, I personally cannot stand it when someone tries to be cheap and just... I mentioned how I have a habit of playing these games to just kind of de-stress from my own problems. But at the same time, as hypocritical as this is, I cannot bear to see that in other people, especially when it comes to things like drugs and alcohol. I don't think so. I'm not a charity. Can you think of another way to pay him? Another way to pay? You could always, kill me. I could, but I'd rather find another solution. Alright, did you want something else? Some answers. What do you want to know? You're not really a dustman, are you? Because you don't act like, She seems to sober right up. Why would you say that? Because you don't act like a dusty and you're not offering contracts. In fact, you're taking money instead of giving it out for that corpse labor they have in the mortuary. She stifles a squeak of terror and hastens to explain. No, I'm not a dustman. I just found these robes in the street and I didn't have enough money to get good clothes, and I heard there was a dustman thief around, but you could probably find him somewhere else in the southwest part of the hive. I saw him, but I hid from him. Please don't hurt me. I'm not planning on it. You ought to know that you're not pulling it off too well. Now answer some questions. Who is the burning corpse? He's, not a corpse. He's, some crazy wizard. Ask around, they'll tell you the story. So she doesn't have a whole lot of questions. Okay, it's time for you to settle your tab. This can pay up now. How much do you need? I think I need about 100 coins to get started on that debt. Can you think of another solution? I'd rather think of another solution. Can't I just get her to work for him? Ah, bummer. Alright, ask you to pay up. How much do you need? Lend you the money. Here, take it and pay up. Now. Ink glances briefly towards the door, dashing out. When she realizes she has no chance, begins to walk glumly towards the bar. Thanks, I suppose. Don't mention it, and don't even think about heading to the door until you've paid up. So I am actually going to follow her, just to make sure that she does, in fact, pay up. Because doing this... Aw, look at Mort, clearing the way for a lady. What a gentle skull. If I stick around... Here's the money, I'll bring you more later. You better all send him after you again. I'm going. You don't have to pester me. Just make sure. Get moving. Always pay your tabs. Don't leave people in debt. It's not fun. Now, Barkus. Again, what now? You won't be having trouble with Moksha again? Thank you, friend. You have full bar privileges for free. Anything you want, anytime. Must have been a pretty big tab she ran up. You don't know the half of it. You want a drink now? Set me up. You want a drink? You got a drink. This is about what we can get for you. Beer, bitters, mead, elemental water, Aborian fire wine, and fire seeds. Aids, cursed wine, and Batorian whiskey. What'll it be? Holy options. I'm going to say nothing, farewell. And I am actually going to call this a saving point. Thank you very much for attending this. I forgot to do a funny saving on the last episode. So, recording 4. Pay your debts. Oh. Pay your debts. Cool. Oh, boo on you. Fine. New save. Recording 4. Smells like regrets. Because I was just listening to Nirvana earlier, and okay, cool, that was funny. Thank you very much for attending this episode, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.